Denial of care to patients. Um, it is possible that patients may be denied care altogether from an insurance company, and this relates to there's a video on children and in severe cases, and kind of looking at that as an example. So um, to be continued on that. Okay. The effect on therapy. When you're paying out of pocket for therapy, you kind of get to say, this is what I want. This is because I'm paying for a product, right? And the therapist can say, this is what I can offer you. And together you come up with this kind of agreement to kind of do what the client is hoping for, and it's informed by the expertise of the therapist and etc. But when it's the self-pay arrangement, that's expensive. It could be $200 or more in some cases, and easily $100. So, like, not a lot of people have that kind of cash on hand. So, therapy definitely is more doable when you have insurance because health insurance will pay at least a portion of that. So that is definitely something that has opened doors for people. And in certain cases, people that without the insurance would not be able to afford therapy at all. Um, in some cases, there are certain disqualifying diagnoses wherein, like, if someone has a certain diagnosis that the insurance company is saying, I'm not going to pay for that, you can start getting into some dicey ethical territory. And we'll talk about ethics more in this semester, but the idea of, um, you know, maybe needing to tweak or adjust a diagnosis in order to get paid or to get the um, the service covered by the insurance company. So now we go to the most kind of newsworthy area of chapter 3 these days. Telepsych, telehealth in the larger umbrella encompasses medical care generally speaking. So, like, when if you have a sore throat and you back in COVID times, like shutdown times, you might be talking like this on your computer with with a nurse practitioner or a doctor or a PA. And that's telehealth, right? Telehealth is for medical and mental health. And the proliferation it's been huge. Prior to COVID, we did do a very small percentage as a field, mental health, master's and doctoral level included. Denver, why are you crying? Don't cry. Sorry. We did a small percentage of telehealth sessions. Compared to now, it's huge. I will find the statistic in my telehealth binder. I've had to do a lot of trainings. My administrative cap that I wear running a clinic, um, and also trying to help myself with my caseload and my staff's caseload. We really want to get best practices. So we've had to do a lot of trainings, and we're, to get the expertise because it's similar and different to traditional face to face, and there's definitely pluses and minuses. But the thing that, again, being in a rural area, and you might have seen this in the news, is that, thankfully, because of telehealth, treatment is more accessible to people that maybe otherwise wouldn't have access to it. Poverty, rural areas, it's a huge thing. When I did my dissertation on rural mental health back, over a decade ago, um, we were talking about this very thing, how telehealth is important because we need to gain access to those hard to reach areas. Um, and thankfully, in the state of New York, Cuomo extended our emergency regulations so that after a certain point in the summer when we thought we were going to lose our emergency regs, which meant that we couldn't do phone sessions anymore with clients. Cuomo said we're going to extend the regs, and the state's licensing entity for state of New York was in it. It was everybody's on board with that. So so far so good. Um, so telepsych. So technology is bigger than just like video therapy, for example. Technology is huge in so many realms, right? Like the ability to see your loved ones on FaceTime when you're in shutdown pandemic mode. We love technology for things like that, right? Technology in the clinical realm is talk therapy through the video. It's also video, so video conferencing. It can be email or texting, which gets a little dicey, not as ideal, right? Because typing is not the same thing as talking. However, it can be the way that telehealth has kind of evolved is that we can see it almost like a supplement to the video conferencing. There's also internet sites that kind of are interactive and allow for people to do self-guided treatment online. Like if you have an anxiety disorder and you're agoraphobic, for example, you can go online and treat that. Hello? Oh my God. Sorry, cat just like ran over. You are all crazy. Okay, it's 1:38 a.m., so that may be a factor. There's also other programs. So it's like it's big, right? There's virtual therapy, virtual reality. So VR, those of you who are gamers, you may be familiar with like the headset, the binocular thingy. Um, VR can be great for video games, super fun, right? But also, VR can be great for treating mental health issues that are hard to do just by talking about it in an office. So, like if you have a fear of airplanes, we can simulate an airplane and you can work on your fear of flying. You could do self instructional programs through technology. So, something that may be online walking you through the steps. And there's a ton of apps and biofeedback mechanisms that can help you see how your heart rate is and to help you learn how to slow it down. So, pluses and minuses. We definitely see that there can be a ton of benefit, and generally speaking, teletherapy can work just as well as more traditional face to face. There's some informal opinions out there, some formal, they're all over the map, that says like this is the new normal. Will traditional therapy come back? Stay tuned. We will find out, right? There is some school of thought that says that the alliance may be altered somewhat. I mean, think about the classroom. I am doing my best to connect to you and with you through a computer screen, right? Like that is very different than seeing, like sharing oxygen in the same room. So you get the idea. And if you've had therapy or even a medical appointment that's non mental health, like, you saw your primary care or some other provider, it is different when it's on the phone. It is different when it's through a video. Um, but you definitely could still get the job done. And I would argue, from my experience now doing telehealth since March, I do in person and telehealth, and I definitely have had success in strengthening my pre existing therapy relationships with clients through the realm of video. And I've met some clients for the first time since March on video and phone. And we've had great work done. So I see it all possible. Um, so it's not all or nothing, bottom line. So there's definitely issues though. We get informed consent, meaning that we have to, for each person we do telehealth with, we have to run down like the costs and the benefits. Like the technology may fail. I may freeze. We may drop a call. Um, if I'm working from home, If I'm not careful, like maybe someone's in the house. Like that's not ideal, but we obviously work on that. But like these are the things that we say. Like if I'm in my house, I'm in a room with the door closed and nobody's around, right? I happen to work out of my office at my clinic, so I always say I'm in my office, the door is closed. You see me on the camera, so there's your chair behind me. Remember that chair we used to sit in? Um, Clients need to know that it's voluntary. We can discontinue it at any point, which in this case sometimes might mean we don't meet, but in my clinic, we have some wiggle room if it's medically necessary or it's high risk. Um, but there are laws. There are regulations. Um, Technically, when it's not an emergency, you have to be telehealth certified as a provider or a clinic provider, and there's ethics involved. So we have to really do our homework. You can't just be like, "All right, I'm going to do this and we'll see what happens." We have to kind of be a little bit more careful, especially because technology isn't perfect and there could be breaches of ethics. We need to make sure that it's private and confidential for the client. Um, we have to appreciate that not all people are going to feel comfortable with it, and that there may be certain cultural variables that may make it contraindicated. And if it's something that is not within one's scope of practice, it shouldn't happen. So we definitely, and this is something when we do our informed consent, we say, if something happens, like I want to know where you are. So where are you? Are you home? Are you in your car? Are you at your friend's house? Because if something happens and I need to get the police to check on you, I need to know where you are, right? And I want my clients to know that if I'm inaccessible, what our crisis plan is going to be. Um, be careful what technologies you use. Is there HIPAA protection? Is it private? If there's data, how do we get rid of it? Do we have an IT department that's going to help us with that? And to always stay current with all the things that could change moment to moment. And back in March, we had so many changes every day. Our clinic we were spinning. We had to send clients home to work from home. We had to do so, we had, of course, social distancing, certain offices, we have disinfecting, and that's just for like our office space, but the technology has changed also. Um, so teletherapy is going to look different depending, like if I'm on my phone, if I'm on my laptop, if my client's on their phone, you know, do they have a good internet connection? Are they in a place where they can give me their undivided attention? Are they in Walmart? Well, they shouldn't be at Walmart, right? They should be where, we're treating it like we're we're undivided attention. Um, And we really want to have backups. So when we're working on our, like the state regulations for this have backup plans. And if the data fails, what's going to be your plan? And how are you going to get your support staff to help clients when there's some kind of an issue that makes it hard to, hard to know how to navigate the technology, for example. So having a live person to navigate that. If it's not me, then one of my support staff is going to be there. So more on that, certainly when we talk in our live session, but it's kind of interesting how, just last fall the last time I taught this course, I could not have imagined talking about it now, post post immediate crisis time, back in March when things went in shutdown mode. So, anyway, that wraps up chapter 3, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon.